What's up, Patriots? All the above, all you beautiful Americans in this beautiful, beautiful country. Well, there's a lot of people weighing in on what happened last night, and you know what? I got a few opinions myself, and I think we watched something unfold last night between Tim Pool and Ye. And it was a bitter pill to swallow that I watched. I was super excited because the preface to this was, of course, you know about the dinner, all right, with 45 and the three of them, and plus somebody that worked on 45's campaign in 2016. We'll get all of that. I'm sure you know all the characters. So on YouTube, I believe you have to be very, very careful. Pardon that interruption. You got to be very careful what you do, as with some other sites too. Not Rumble, though. And I'm working on Rumble as we speak. So I got the black conservative perspective. His channel is amazing. I haven't even caught his first name yet, but I love him to death. If I could figure out his name, I will do that. We're going to take a little reaction to his reaction because I want to see it. You know, I saw it from my point of view. Now, I want to see it from this gentleman's point of view. So let's flash over and we will check it out together. All right, here we go.
Ended up walking off set, okay? And I want to talk about that because I just want to give my opinion about what's going on, right? I think that as a YouTuber, I think I could give a perspective on kind of what happened in that situation. And just kind of chime in on it because I think that Tim Pool should have known better when he invited Kanye to interview that it was probably going to go down like this if he was not willing to actually go there with Ye, a man who basically has lost everything for his opinion.
That is super important, right? But I want to focus on there were 5 people in the room. Pretty much all of them on a certain high level of, you know, being out in the public, but Kanye's at the top, right? And then you got Milo, who was kind of like pushed aside for a little bit. You got Tim Pool, who is growing, and I watch his show, and I love his show. And he's got his characteristics. And then you got Fuentes. And I'm not giving any opinions on any of them because I feel like you hold yours, I hold mine. But let's go.
Okay. So just to recap, if you guys did not actually watch the interview, basically the interview went down like this. Milo, Kanye, and Nick Fuentes pulled up to Tim Pool and his house, his compound, for an interview. And basically, as soon as the interview started, Kanye started to get into his rant about them.
Okay. And them and they are going to be the race religion that gets a little funky if you go against it. Let's just say that, right? So, but what you don't know, and I don't know if he says this here because I'm reacting to this, but what you don't know is they had about an hour and 15 minutes before the show, and they were having all kinds of chit chat and talking about religion and running for president. And, you know, they knew that Tim wanted to go for the top of the news cycle. He didn't want to necessarily get in to some of the darker parts. And it seems like what I watched was it kind of wasn't, because Tim's good. You know, he's very good at what he does, but I feel like this was a fire with gasoline, and whoever was holding the match, I don't know who threw the match, but it was like having that right in the center of the room, and everybody's got a match, and anything could happen. And it did get sidetracked.
Right, or they, right? And you already know who they is, okay? And Tim Pool basically was pushing back against Kanye and his anti-Semitism, right? And that's when things kind of went off the rails because Kanye had warned Tim multiple times throughout the podcast that, look, I lost everything, bro. And they are responsible for me losing everything. Therefore, you're not going to sit here and put me through a Lex Friedman type podcast, in which if you guys watch Kanye with Lex Friedman basically just lectured Kanye like in literally the whole podcast on him being anti-Semitic. I'm pretty sure that pissed Kanye off. Kanye also was on with Piers Morgan, Chris Cuomo. So y'all got to understand, Kanye had been through multiple interviews where people are literally lecturing him on anti-Semitism while he is having this experience that he believes personally is caused by them. Right?
Well, look, and don't forget, he has the family. He's been canceled with all of his money, most of it anyway. I did see on Tim Pool's show that he basically in the morning of that yesterday was told that if he didn't pay his taxes, he could go to jail. And he's like, "How much is the taxes?" And they said a lot. So when he's holding on to 100 or 200 million left, from what I gathered, this man for the last 6 to whatever, even maybe since 2016, Ye has been through the grinder. From being, overly medicated by the guy from Canada all the way up to he was, put in an institution, I believe, somewhere around 2016. He goes in with Trump with the red hat and everybody freaks out on him there. And that's why I definitely need to get this gentleman's review or his reaction to what happened. So let's keep going.
Right. And Tim Pool is pushing back against Kanye, basically trying to say, look, you can't do that, right? You can't characterize a whole group of people like that. You cannot do that. You shouldn't do that. And Kanye basically gave a counterpoint and said, look, y'all do that all the time with the black vote, right? You do that all the time with black people. Why can't I do it with them, right? Why can't I do it with them? Which I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. There's a whole lot of black people, particularly those who lean more conservative, that feel this way. Okay? I'm telling you because, personally, I'm on the anti-victimhood stuff, right? I don't like any group, out here claiming to be oppressed and you get special victim status and all that stuff.
That's huge what he's saying right there. And I totally agree. I'm in the same boat. I even believe that Tim Pool's in that boat. And I think what went wrong, see, Tim Pool has like a members only section where after he does his hour and a half, 2 hour and a half regular show, which is basically whatever the happening news is, whoever's the guest, they all just show, no matter who has strong or negative views or whatever, they all try to talk about it and talk through the news. And it's actually very entertaining. And I believe wholeheartedly Tim Pool felt like with Milo Fuentes and Ye having this dinner with Trump and having them, he gave them a platform. I don't know how many people would have gave all three at the same time. And that's where I say it might have been a blown opportunity on both sides. Meaning that Ye could have came in and looked presidential. And the funny thing is, one of the conversations they had before the taping, or the airing, it was live, was that how can I become president? He asked the fellas and girls there at the compound. And I mean, that's a great question, really. Like, what if he asked that before we went into any of the stuff that happened? Because the one thing I got out of this was Tim Pool. He was just, I don't know how to say it, but you got to be careful on these platforms of how you say stuff. That's not fair. And that's the biggest thing that Ye's fighting about. But I do believe that this is the one shot that Ye had to bring it down just a little bit, because, I trust he knows to do this. And of course they said, Ye before the taping was in a great mood. He was calm, cool, collected. They were talking about religion and all. And if you're going to run for president, you can't run away. Now, that's coming from me, and I, like he's saying, this guy, his life, I wouldn't want it on my left shoulder, right shoulder, all that. So I get what he's saying. But the opportunity, oh my God, the opportunity was right there to have probably, And this goes with saying Milo and Tim Pool, when they aired that about a week or two ago, that was like one of the greatest ratings he ever had. He said that publicly. I think they even said it on the show. Now you have all three. This I feel so bad for Tim, because this would have elevated Tim. And if he would have kind of just got a little sexy, just relaxed the Tim Pool in him, if he would have got a little sexy and just been like, yeah, I can feel that, man. I'm feeling you right now. I see you. I love you. That would have been incredible. And you got to creatively be able to pick little spots in there to maybe, and if you feel all of this, because I'm feeling it. If you were president, is there anything on that biggest platform in the world that you could do to solve that? Boom. And then if Ye steers away from it, he's killing himself. But Tim Pool could have been, and I don't know him. I don't know what he does when he's not on camera. But if Tim Pool would have sort of just hugged him, because what I got out of it is Ye needs a hug, right? I don't hold a bad, negative or positive. Like I'm not on the Ye bus, but I'm not off it either. I don't drive it. I don't hang on the back bumper. But this could have been such a teaching moment for us YouTubers right now, to just see how, because the whole thing was to try to get, did you see like the 5-piece pie in there? I mean, it was amazing. And plus you have the guy running the show for them. I always forget his name. He replaced the other girl. But I'm just saying, oh my God, it would have been delicious to see the clay start out as this big lump and just get molded into a heart. That would have been cool.
I'm not down with any of it. Okay, so we're not gonna sit here and allow that for certain groups of people, but we're not gonna allow it for others. Like, I'm just not with it. You know what I'm saying? So I can tell that Kanye, he just didn't like that energy, right? Especially again with Tim Pool talking about, I think Kanye be good for the black vote because he's black, right? But then you can't generalize when it comes to them, right?
I'm just sorry, but if I'm hanging out with Kanye, I'll let him say that. I wouldn't dare bring that up. There's no reason to. That's an assumption that goes black and white. It's assumed that he's a champion for his people.
Or they, okay? Again, that's that energy right there. I think that's what kind of threw the whole interview off. And I think everybody in the room, except Tim, picked up on that, but Tim Pool didn't. And again, that's kind of how the conversation went. And
I kind of agree there.
Points in the podcast,
I kind of agree.
Kanye basically told Tim Pool that, look, you're not going to sit here and tell me that I can't say the things that I want to say. I've lost everything. You're not going to do that to me.
But since 1940, go ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't that an issue of these individuals? Like you're extrapolating.
I'm going to order with the last of my money that's available in a different account. I'm going to order a PJ before I sit and have another Lex Friedman setup conversation. When I'm literally they're trying to put me in jail for my opinion.
But
I'm not going to have that opinion. I don't care about people. Those are bots that are trying to tell you. We realize, look at Pence. He sold Trump out.
By the way, just so you know, him using bots, he is saying what could get Tim Pool in trouble. So I'm seeing a little bit of Kanye there, trying not to say too much that red flags Tim Pool. So he is trying.
You get what I'm saying? It's like I would have never wanted to do anything that hurt Trump. I'm on Trump's side. Trump said things that hurt me. He lied about me, but I mean, he's known for lying. And when people used to tell me that, he's a liar, it's like, I went into the trenches for Trump. That's another conversation. There was no one in my position that wore that hat.
Yeah. So again, as you saw that in that exchange, Tim Pool basically tried to say, look, again, it's about individuals, right? You can't characterize a whole group of people, right, just based off their religion or their race or whatever. And Kanye is just like, no.
And look, man, black folks can still hold on to that virtue a little bit. But these guys, the gentlemen like Van Hall, I watch them, and what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we can hold that virtue a little bit, but the only way we heal is to build the bridge together. So, you know, you got to let Kanye feel that a little bit. And I think Tim, oh, he fouled twice, and then the last swing was either he swung over the ball or he watched the ball go by for the third strike. And I'm sorry because I love Tim Pool a lot, but I just felt like with his experience, with him in the trenches in life, he kind of should know what's coming. This isn't, I hate to say it, but this isn't even as big as when he had Milo. This is huge, and he's got Fuentes on the sideline too. I mean, come on. If you know this is all coming into your house, you got to kind of like learn also how to be, taking care of the guests a little bit. Even though you might disbelieve in stuff, you don't have to come out and disagree with them or agree with them. But you could serve them a drink or an appetizer or something and just try to like get everybody to get warm and fuzzy.
I can say what I want to say. I'm going to say what I want to say because this is my experience. That's just the gist of the conversation. And then Tim Pool basically kind of did it again. And Kanye kind of called out Tim Pool and the fact that Tim Pool can't even say who they is, right? Which I'm going to explain to you guys why. Okay. But at that point, that's when Kanye walks off because I think he realizes that the conversation is actually pointless because you can't have a real conversation on Tim Pool's show. And again, I'm going to explain to you guys why. Take a look.
Yeah, I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they though? We can't say who they is, can we?
Press. I'm not using the.
He's trying to get the anti in there, and Tim just can't do it because it blows maybe possibly his money. And I think he's gonna talk about this.
I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking.
It is
about
them though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
Are you afraid of the press?
I'll say it right now.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, I think Kanye kind of realized in that moment when Tim basically refused to acknowledge who they is, okay, what Kanye West was talking about, considering the fact that Kanye is saying that I went through all these things.
Right.
I think Kanye realized that it's a waste of time to sit here and have a real conversation with Tim Pool because it's just going to go the same way that all his other conversations had went.
This is why I'm saying hopefully Tim learned, and it might get him more. I don't know if he needs subscriptions, but this is what I'm saying, where if he could have somehow facilitated that conversation on his private show, that would have been probably the greatest private show of all. But unfortunately, probably Ye needed to get it off his chest anyway. And like he said, he realized that Tim can't do it, probably because of the funding. He might get flagged or whatever. So it wasn't worth Ye's time.
Where they're literally going to spend the whole time basically trying to tell Ye that his feelings are wrong and that he shouldn't feel the way that he feels, right? That's basically how his conversation with Piers Morgan went, Chris Cuomo, Lex Friedman. It's like he doesn't want to have that conversation. He's not going to have anybody tell him that his feelings are invalid. That's just, it is what it is. And I don't think that Tim Pool was actually getting that. It's either that or Tim Pool realizes what everybody realizes when you have a YouTube channel and your primary source of income comes from YouTube, right? Especially when you are live streaming and you have individuals who've been banned from the internet, all three of them, right? Kanye, right? Milo, and Nick Fuentes, which 100%. Is that you have to push back against everything, right? That's the reality of what's going on here. Okay.
All right. All right. So let's get out of here,
Tim Pool,
so you guys can get on with your day too. All right. What he means by the pushback is, I do know I've seen other podcasters also say that the pushback is sort of like, I guess, a hidden rule that if something's happening on your channel, your stream, or you're going to talk about something, you got to keep it balanced, because if it's something that YT doesn't like, they're going to strike you down. But the caveat is, if you show enough pushback on what YT doesn't like, you kind of can, you got to show a fair fight, I guess is the only way I can put it. So I'm going to end it with this. This, no matter what you think of those three people that walked into that room with Tim Pool, no matter what you think about Tim and the people that work for him, Tim runs a good show. He really does. I have zero complaints when I watch his show. Anybody can have their opinion. When these three people walked into that room, it was kind of like you're asking to cook a dinner for the most important people in the world, and all five of you never cooked before, but you got to figure it out, and you got to work it out as a team, and you got to serve the plates to the people, and it's got to be delicious. It might be a little rough in the kitchen, but the people don't see that. And I'm going to tell you, it taught me, if I ever start getting to where I have live people talking with me, I'm going to be the most creative, poetic, silver fox tongue of trying to just let them feel comfortable, because everybody already knows how I feel. Everybody knows how I feel. I can do follow-up videos. I can do whatever I got to do. But in the moment, in the heat of the moment, like my man Jalen Hurts, go Eagles, right? My man Jalen Hurts, man, he shows no ups, no downs on that face. And we're 10-1. All right. I love you guys. Shout out to the Eagles. I love. Please, I'm going to put the links down in the bottom here. But the Black Conservative Perspective is an amazing channel. This dude, I'm with him, just like Van, LFR family. I love these two guys. They're teaching me how to be a better person through their actions. So follow them, and remember, they do it for you. They go out and they fight for your freedom. They die for your freedom. They sign up to fight for our freedoms. So kiss, love, hug a vet. Make sure you follow Gretchen over at Code of Vets on Twitter. And if you're a vet and you're hurting and you're down, hook up with her and her organization, and she will take good care of you. I love you guys. Go Patriots. American way. I'll see you on the other side.